Welcome back, all of you criminals. Yes, that's right, criminals. I know what you are, even if you do not. Crime doers of the highest order. The charge? Not seeing the truth. If the comments on my previous theory taught me anything, it's that few of you are adamant about seeing the truth and taking on the truth as what it is, and instead aimed to ridicule me. So guess what? I wrote a damn script. Take that, morons. But enough. This theory, what is there to say about this theory? If you thought the Kris family theory was a farce, then ladies, gentlemen, and all friends all over the world in this land, all of the animals and pets, well, I present you with this. Something that, as we will soon discover, is something so founded in fact that it deserves its very own spot on the periodic table as an element which allows this very universe to take shape. This, dare I say, is my finest work yet. This is December Dog Theory. Now, before we begin, there is much to warn you of. This theory required a lot of tinkering to get right, so please avert your gaze if you suffer from the following. Photosensitivity, aversion to knowledge and the general truth, I will let you make of that what you will. The facts. Now, finally, allow me to transcribe the essence of this truth, this theory, as we will call it. December Dog Theory, in which December's true form is uncovered not as a human, not as a monster, but as a mutt. This has many implications. We will uncover what Doggy Dess could mean for Deltarune and all the evidence that supports it. There are many pieces of evidence that you haven't noticed were there all along. I have essentially solved Deltarune, so sit back, relax, and watch the show. The evidence is irrefutable. This is hardly a gaming theory, but a gaming fact. Capiche? Then follow along, if you're not afraid, that is. The problems. And I know what you're saying to yourselves, what this slide, the purpose of this slide is for, because I can hear you, what you're muttering, what you're typing in that little comment section with those insolent little fingers. Before we propose the theory, let's look at some of the issues. Hello. December is a deer, not a dog. She is a holiday who have all been shown to be deers. Wouldn't make sense, and there are already dogs in hometown. Nothing about what we know about Dess supports her being a dog. The wiffle bats, being missing, being the night, her friends and family. Dess can't be the night and a dog at the same time. Dogs can't talk. You're just insane. Her relationship with the other characters do not reveal her to be a dog. It'd be pretty clear that she's a dog based on how they talk about her. December being a dog does not service the story at all, nor does it fit with any established themes. It is complete drivel. That's what you sound like, thinking there are holes in this theory based on such a flawed understanding of Deltarune. I am here to show you the correct way of interpreting this tale, or shall we say, this tale. Ha 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 ha. You want structure? I'll give you structure. Bear with me as I splay the foundations of fact before your little balls. To combat this small-minded thinking, I have structured theory according to these unmovable pillars. Who is Dess? Uncovering what we actually know about her. The shelter, her antlers, the wiffle bats, like some kind of stick. Dess's relationships. Both Kris and Noelle support the idea of Dess being a dog through some very puptastic dialogue choices in the sprites. The Dark Worlds. A dog could easily be responsible for creating the Dark Worlds. You just have to think harder. And other points that I don't have time to explain. Just watch the damn theory, alright? Seriously. But enough preamble. We? Yes, we. All of you sinners in the audience, sit down and relax and make sure you have your drinks and beverages of choice. Because with that, we can finally begin the December dog theory. The only theory that cannot be disproven. To begin, who is death? A rather important foundation, one of the big pillars of this theory. We will first uncover the true nature of this conniving pup. She's been missing for quite some time. She is a member of the Holiday family, is confirmed to be the knight, has implied friendship with Azriel and Kris, and is lost somewhere in the code of the game. These are all facts that are not new to any lore lovers of this beautiful game. Simber is a big mystery, the older sister to Noelle, who has not yet appeared. So, how could she possibly be a dog? By reading between the lines? The truth lies before you, but you're too stupid to comprehend it yourself. And no, I don't want to hear any arguing. I will repeat as many times as necessary. I don't want to see a single utterance of hatred in the comments because you know I'm right. Watch the theory and weep, haters. We know December loves baseball bats. Bat and ball, like stick and toy. For a dog, as you can see, it already melds together seamlessly this idea of Deltarune and dog. Let me continue. With the root image in the prophecy, which we know to be about the holidays and dreamers, it clearly illustrates the doghouse. And as for the doghouse location, as you can see in this diagram, behind Holiday Mansion is the only place it could be, as it is behind the Christmas tree ornament that needs to be climbed, and we know as human people that walk this earth that dogs climb trees often, so she would be the only one that could access it. This evidence is entirely irrefutable. Attempt to refute it is a fool's errand. Let's get one thing clear. December looks like a deer, but no, no, no. Her antlers must be bands like how Kris wears their horns in this scene to fit in with everyone else. Notice any parallels? As a little pup, you would probably want to feel safe and happy. And with antlers, she can do this. Seem familiar? Seem familiar? That is because it is. Another popular dog from The Grinch also takes part in this ritual of disguise. It would be entirely ridiculous to write this off as a coincidence. It has to be an inspiration, a clear reference that Toby Fox has made to a beloved Seuss classic. I would know this, so I actually read the damn text. Sometimes you just gotta do it yourself. And I know what you're thinking. Well, dogs can't talk. Are you stupid or something? Yay! At first, it seems like a sound rebuttal, a perfect deconstruction of all my work, but you failed to consider. Yeah, that's right. Bet you feel like a silly boy now. Toby grew up with the childhood classic Clifford the Big Red Dog. And this dog? This dog has style, attitude, and a tongue that babbles lines of dialogue. All of you conniving idiots whose only goal is to tear down the truth. So- And to top it all off, D.OGG contains elements similar to Raise Up Your Bat, playing just before you fight Birdly, and as we all would know, dogs eat birds. It also wittily freaking spells out D.OGG. D.OGG. Dog. A dog! Bravo, Toby Fox. Bravo. And if that isn't enough, ever wonder why Dess was the one that went missing? Oh, for Pete's sake, dogs go missing all the time. If you put two and two together, it all finally makes sense. The only possible explanation is that December is a dog and ran away from home. It all clicks together seamlessly. It's a wonder this fan base never came to this conclusion sooner. It is implied that something bad happened between Asgore and Des. Something dire. If you would just put that brain to use for once, we can work out pretty easily that it must have been a car accident. Witness. Do I even need to say it? Dogs get hit by cars. The evidence keeps piling on like a truck upon the body of a poor little pup. This is a dog. Finally, on to the next pillar of the argument, Kris and Dess. Her relationship with Kris is largely important in uncovering the truth behind Deltarune. When analyzing key details left in the game, we can bring the idea of December Dog much further. With Kris, the theory essentially writes itself. Soak in all of the details. because let me assure you, dear viewer, there are many of them. Kris has many dog-like sprites within the game. Since Kris doesn't know any other dogs in hometown, it is safe to assume that this inspiration comes from none other than December Doggy herself. They must have been close if Dess also used a headband to mimic the antlers of her family, much like how Kris did with the Dreamers. This has many implications. And it's not just design. Kris, as a whole, can be linked back to the idea of December Dog. Kris and the Soul are clearly meant to be an allegory to a dog and an owner, namely with the kid's prophecy, which, if you put your theory goggles on, well, it seems quite obvious. But I am yet still baffled that it's taken this long for someone like me to come along and put the pieces together. In theory, Kris may have been Death Dog's owner. Think about it. Chapter three's ending sees Kris opening the shelter door. The shelter door! A dog! Delta! And who else would know the code to a doghouse? The owner of the dog. Following this line of logic, this action shown on screen, which happens whenever you defeat this dog in combat, this action shows something important. It can be seen as Kris and Doggy Dess finally reuniting. Everybody say "Aww, aww." She shows Kris a sign of love and respect by Kris knighting them, like they always did. Seem familiar? And Kris would not know how to howl unless they knew a dog. And I know what you're saying. Wait, hey? But the dog's inside the police station. The bone-biting bandits of hometown. Theory disproven, theory disproven, theory disproven. But let's not forget, Asgore? Kris's father? Yeah, he was the police chief. Why would he let his child associate with criminals? That would be stupid. Think harder next time you try to shoot me down. The next pillar, Noelle and Dess. Part of the same pillar, but let's just say more information is to be revealed here. Kris does not hold all of the secrets, surprisingly enough. What the fuck does that even mean? And following this line, Noelle and Dess. How can one talk about Dess without talking about Noelle? Noelle is also quite important in uncovering December's true identity. Look no further than Chapter 2 for some irrefutable evidence. Excuse me, allow me to warm up my muscles, my vocal muscles. I can do a rather perfect Noelle voice. You just have to give me a moment. What a strange moon! It's like nothing I've ever seen before. This world. I wish Dess could see this. I wish Dess could see this. Take note of that line. In this scene, as Noelle looks upon the moon, she has the thought of Dess. This inherently links the moon with Dess as if they are one and the same thought, as if it is simply a path A to B. What does it all mean? This must mean that Dess is some kind of werewolf. as a werewolf is a human and a dog, and the moon is incredibly important. It is key in the existence of the werewolf. And if there is one goddamn thing you take away from this fucking theory, let it be this. Two things can be true at once. I rest my case.
What? You're teasing me, aren't you, Kris? Like when you told me the answer was relevant, kids, man. So that smacked you with a wiffle ball till you stopped lying, man.
Des smacks Kris with a bat. Perhaps this is a sign, wanting to play fetch, like a dog bringing you its favorite toy and sitting at your feet waiting for you to take your next step. And additionally, the mention of eating kids, I find this quite interesting. Why would this be mentioned? Why, of course, December dog could be hungry and gets excited because of that fact and hits Kris so they can feed her. Any way you slice it, it all seems quite clear to me. Additionally, Noel's fear of mice quite an important characteristic in chapter 2. He was used to Des taking care of the mice, as we all know, dogs eat mice. This is why she is so afraid, because without a doggy companion, Noel became more timid because her battle hound was lost. I mean, take it from Noel herself.
My sister was a dog, man. I miss her.
It brings a tear to the eye. Another incredibly important pillar, something that this theory cannot survive without. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, or the dog food rather, of this story. The icing on the cake per se, which you should not feed your doggies at home, if you are curious. Let's take a look at the Dark Worlds. You may think, how could a dog be the Roaring Knight? A doggy is much smaller than that dastardly Dark Soldier. With Ralsei's explanation of Dark Worlds, we could shine a light on that truth. It would not be out of the question for a little dog to enter the darkest dark and become a strange knight. She even carries a trusty sharpened dark. Ah! She even carries a trusty sharpened dog bone to attack her enemies. To bring this idea further, we could postulate that December likely enjoys doggy treats, food, and other things. This has many implications. Still think it's unbelievable? We've seen a small dog fit into a big suit of armor before. Does this jog your memory? Drawing from this, we can assume this is possible for Death's dog as well. It just makes sense, and it continues to build upon my argument, which has now become an impenetrable fortress of truth. Furthermore, if a dark world is darker than dark, this could relate to the fact that dogs are colorblind. If it is entirely dark, then there would be no color. Ever consider that one? Liberals? Fountains could also be fun for a pup, flatly speaking. Dogs may at times play and splash in the water when they see something they want, like a bone or a treat. Wouldn't you do the same? Keep this in mind for later. I have solved Deltarune. Witness this. Additionally, a doggy could be the only culprit behind the tale known as Deltarune. Take the beginning of the story as an example. As depicted here, our two little individuals fall into what seems to be a dark hole, which may be confusing to some. Let me list some concerns. How is this possible? There's a closet. Why is the fall so large? And who puts a hole inside a closet? All questions effortlessly answered by this theory. If we put our dog Sember goggles on, we can unveil the truth that has been hiding in plain sight, and you have all been too stupid to comprehend it. The evidence to come is simply irrefutable. Dogs dig holes. December must be responsible for all but one dark world. She must have had the closet door closed on her, and with no hands to open these doors, she had to dig through the earth to escape this terrible entrapment. This explains why dark worlds are behind double doors, because one doggy cannot be expected to open two big doors on her own. She had to improvise. And if even that isn't enough, when fleeing from Kris and Susie in the light world, we don't get to see what the night looks like, which is a very purposeful choice on the part of Toby Fox. This is because it is December, and if you put the goddamn pieces together on your own, which I doubt, you will accept by now that she is irrefutably a dog. Fact. Read that line again. That doesn't say theory, does it? Fact! Dogs can run very fast, much faster than our two individuals. This explains everything. Since December Dog is a female, this would classify her as a bitch. This actually helps this theory out a lot. An ancient fable states, bitch? Well, a bitch is a female dog, and dogs bark. Bark grows on trees. Trees are a part of nature, and nature is beautiful. From these beautiful words, we can infer that December Dog is very beautiful. Yes. And some important lyrics from the Lightners Live show. Come follow me into the dark, your heart as the ark, and I bet my friends still want to bite, all important in their own ways. With come follow me into the dark, it is like some sort of command that you would perhaps tell a dog. You see, it seems quite normal when I put it this way, doesn't it? Perhaps quite obvious? Feel like a moron yet? Your heart as the ark, referring to your heart likely in reference to Kris, the character that has the heart, the only heart in the game. This further supports the Kris owner pillar of this theory as she requires their presence in order to create such a lovely tune. And ark, huh? Trust me, we'll circle back to this. And with I Bet My Friends Still Wanna Bite, this is sung by Ralsei, and Ralsei's connection to dogs is something that I hardly even need to state in this theory. It's all too obvious. You just have to think harder. And the final nail in the coffin. When Susie creates a dark world, the color changes to reflect her will. But notice how the fountain made by Kris and those made by the mutt are the same color. Of course, December dogs' fountains would be the same colors as Kris's because her owner is all that she knows. This is vital information. How are you faring so far? Has your cranium begun to bulge yet? I'd be surprised if it hasn't. Analysis of this level has never been achieved for this game called Deltarune. Every little story beat has been recontextualized for you now, hasn't it? In all honesty, I could probably end the theory here.
But what does God think? Like the creation of Adam, Deltarune is Toby Fox's baby boy. Therefore, biblical readings of Deltarune are entirely irrefutable. Take this line from Jonathan. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise them up at the last day. The references seem quite clear, don't they? Eats my flesh. In Minecraft, dogs eat rotten flesh. Raise them up. Well, list the video above. It seems quite self-explanatory. Drinks my blood. Blood is gushing bright like a fountain, and doggies play in fountains. Jesus Christ. The split between man and God. God is dog backwards. With this information, we can easily infer that Dess is the Antichrist. The split between human and dog, as two things can be true at once. Once again, you will find the evidence to be ironclad, stoic, and fucking irrefutable.
But wait, it's not just the teachings of God that can steer us towards the light of the truth. The evidence has always been irrefutable, no matter how much you try to deny it. But for the doubters that doubtless clicked on this video to leave spiteful, short-sighted comments, like, why would this be a dog? Why not another loyal animal that loves toys and fun at eating mice? You pathetic whelp. Just watch how far this theory goes.
Dog theory, Dess 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 desktop theory, desktop theory, desktop theory.
Can I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to FNAF World. You see, FNAF World is actually very similar to Deltarune, and may just be the key for all to be understood. Watch out. There's jump scares about. You see, Deltarune and Five Nights at Freddy's World are more than just similar. They're downright identical. Let's explore what FNAF World can say through the holy power of parallels. Let's start with the basics. I like to call them the ropes. The essentials. The backbone of our knowledge. Critically, they're both RPGs. Now you may wonder, wait, something's wrong. There we go. Now you may wonder, why is this important? Any old game can be an RPG, take Chrono Trigger, but that shit's nothing like Deltarune. You see, I've adapted. I don't come to baseless conclusions anymore. FNAF World and Deltarune aren't just RPGs. They're experiences. They have a wide array of colourful concepts, a splendid myriad of zany, quirky characters who practically just want to live in these worlds. Interesting, huh? Might even circle back to this. Here are two of my favourite characters. Magical. Next parallel, and this is a big one. These lands, they're ruled by gods. And I'm not talking about that one either. Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale. Scott Cawthon, the creator of FNAF World. These guys have a lot of similarities. First, they're tricky as hell. Toby Fox, also known by his pseudonym Tricky Tony. You can't take him anywhere. And Scott Cawthon? He's the master of trolls. Bravo. Bravo, you two. Bravo. Next, I'd call them pure genii. If you think about it, we didn't make Deltarune, so we're probably just dumb. But Scott Cawthon, he didn't just make it, he inspired it. Nice work. And I think the most important similarity of all for this theory is that they know their damn dogs. Oh, whoops. They know their damn dogs. Scott Cawthon did so much research on dogs that he wrote a whole book about them. If that's not knowledge, what is, for crying out loud? And Tony, you bastard. You are literally a dog. There is no excuse for the coincidences within these minds. Everything is pointing to Dess Dog. Our next most crucial parallel cements these similarities in stone. Deltarune and FNAF World both have layers. Multiple worlds. Yeah, I'd be confused too first if I heard FNAF World and it's not FNAF Worlds. Yeah, it's got multiple worlds. But I believe Scott was just trying to trick us off of his tail. I don't know. He's a troll. He's a master of trolls. But if you've not clocked 2 and 2 by now, let me explain. Deltarune is of two worlds. The light world, which resembles reality, and the dark world, which acts like fantasy, fiction, their wildest dreams. Interestingly, this forces our two little individuals into some sort of double life. A life of reality for isolation, and a life of crime and closets but also misadventure. This is actually very similar to FNAF World, but that's because we start off in a game. But it's not just any game. You start off in the mind of a child. This game was made by a child. Well, maybe not made, conjured. Scott even actually confirmed this. Anyway, the tip-top layer of FNAF World purposefully looks like real life. You can see the green grass, the blue sky, the dark graveyards. But as you delve deeper, we sink away from realism, and it becomes more clear that something more devious is going on. We descend into a glitch, and the space still looks like the memorable Fazbear Hills. But it's strange, it's simpler, it's more abstract. But we can go deeper, we can go darker than dark. But every layer deeper that we descend, the more it becomes tricky to find the way out. Does that remind you of anything? Ring some bells? It should have. This next pillar might be a bit divisive. Both games contain mysterious old men, but in vastly different ways. Although the games may be identical, the identities of these men are very different. I'd call them foils, but you wouldn't really understand that, would you? Let's start with the two memorable personas from Deltarune. The Forgotten Man. This links back to our previous parallel of the layers of reality, as he's almost found in like his own layer of reality further than the Dark World, as you need to find him in a room between. He's an Easter egg of sorts, a perfect foil for our FNAF World cretin, the old man consequences. He's found when you delve like way too far into the layers of reality in FNAF World. And he's also basically just an Easter egg. But what about the old man? Because you may think about this old man and be like, fuck.
I'm old!
And you might be like, wait, old man and old man consequences, why aren't they linked? Surely this was purposeful by Toby. But I think I know why. Old man consequences. Gerson is dead. He doesn't have any consequences in his life. Meanwhile, the old man, he's fishing. Fishing is a symbol of life. And he's just living life the way that he should. So, yeah, cool. Now that we've gathered our evidence, let's construct a beautiful building, a skyscraper of knowledge. Let's talk dogs. Our first sighting of dogs in FNAF World is Bubba. Now, Bubba, some people would argue that this he-him bear is a bear. But I would say, then why does he have the same name as Bub, the girl dog in Secret of the Mimic? They must be the same. And therefore, maybe since we fight Bubba in FNAF World, we're going to fight a female dog in Deltarune. And thinking back on Deltarune, we've not really seen any dogs that we've fought before, especially not a female one. Except we don't know the identity of the Roaring Knight. So maybe Dess dog is the Roaring Knight. Maybe a dog is the knight, and maybe December is the night, so therefore Dess is the Roaring Knight. I think also we can uncover something else. But first, let's go back to Bub, because there's something that we're missing. Bub is a woman. And all the animatronics They're like mascots of like people in the FNAF franchise. You have Michael Afton, the foxy brother. We've got William Afton, Bonnie, Henry, and Emily, Freddie, Fiona, the one from Secret of a Mimic, Chica. I think that's pretty obvious. Who's Bub? I believe Bub.
Maybe Mrs. Afton.
And if you think about Mrs. Afton, she sounds pretty evil. And I think I know why. Because putting Mrs. Afton in the game, it's clearly paralleling like Carol Holiday, right? Because she's like an evil woman, probably an evil woman. But if Carol is evil and Carol is representing Bub the dog, does that mean Carol is also a dog? Question mark. This is just a little theory to add to Dess dog, but if Carol was a dog, Dess wouldn't be adopted. She would be simply birthed. She even has like these blue horns, but like no horns are blue. So I believe they are headbands. If we look further into FNAF World, there's more than just Bub. We've got Carl the Cupcake, a playable character. The thing is, Carl the Cupcake has some crazy lore to him. Unfathomable. The cupcake is possessed by the soul of the dog, of the ghost of the girl, of the chica, of Susie. Susie is the name. No, not that Susie. Susie is the name of the ghost in Chica. So, Susie's dog died and made Carl. So maybe if we look at Susie, because like Susie would be Chica. Chica is the only bird in the whole of FNAF World. The whole of FNAF World. There's only Chica. You can't list anyone else. And similarly in Deltarune, the only bird that we've ever seen is our lonely little bluebird. Birdly. I am proposing that when we see Birdly in the weird route in Chapter 2, when he's squawking and screaming until he's smothered in ice, it's just like that little dog that William Afton killed. Ascor! Now let's resolve this golden thread. Why does any of this matter? Let's look at the importance of FNAF Worlds again. As mentioned previously, it takes in the mind of a child, but not just any child. A crying child. And not just any crying child, but the crying child. Dave Afton, the boy who died in 1983 by the maws of Fredbear. Poor soul. I believe this shaped the so-called world of FNAF Worlds, because if we look at the map, which is like a brain, remember? This part right here, which you could assume would be the cerebral cortex, the frontal lobe. It's snow. It's snow there. And if we look at the map of FNAF World, you might notice something. It's snow. In the cerebral cortex, in the frontal lobe, it's all snow, a snowy landscape. It's a desert landscape. Look at it. Snowy desert. There's nothing there. All the trees are dead. But if we link that to Deltarune, first of all, Noelle's heavily linked to snow. And most people theorize that she'll make a dark fountain at the end of the game. maybe chapter 8, who knows. But I go further. I believe that not only is this dark world of heaven, it's going to be heaven, which aims to bring back her Rudy, succumb to disease. It's not just going to be the Ice Palace, an icy fortress, like the snowy landscape suggests, but it's going to be a desert, empty, desolate, lone and level sands stretch far away. Just like the mind state of Noelle when her dad dies. Her determination even, which would make the Dark World. And the best part? This was all foreshadowed in the Chapter 3 8-bit minigames. Please explain how in the comments. If you're paying attention, you'll probably understand. Okay, I'm going to wrap up now and let the FNAF Know Nothing wrap this up even further. Because we have conclusively talked about the links between FNAF World and Deltarune. It's quite beautiful now. We've created conclusions about her doggy past, December's doggy past, before Chapter 5 even revealed anything. I think it's safe to say that we are prophets. Thank you.
One final thing. Now that my theory has been completely laid out before your eyes, take a look at this final piece of evidence. This sprite that you've been seeing throughout this entire presentation, it is literally in the game. This is rather unambiguously alluding to December Dog being an important character, having a completed sprite in the files and everything. And so, all of the wailing cries of the haters finally fell silent. Care to refute that one, kid? Thanks for watching the presentation. This theory has become more than just an idea and should now have settled in your brain as a completely undeniable, stone-cold, and rock-solid truth. To refute it is to accept yourself as a lesser specimen on the level of a sullen worm that rests among the dirt. Be respectful in the comments. I don't want to see even more strains of media literacy down there. And no, I will not be deleting the video, no matter how many hate comments and dislikes I get. Just try it. However, if Toby Fox wants me to take down the video for spoiling the game, I will gladly oblige. Witness, for those who just came in, I have made other theories which you should also indulge in if you want any hope of understanding this game. Many topics are required to understand what Deltarune is trying to tell you, and I have made it all too easy for you to learn about it now. Additionally, as a little dog treat for making it this far, I would like to show a little sneak peek of my next big Deltarune theory. Please enjoy this showcase. And that is all for the showcase. One additional thing I would like to present is this beautiful art that was made for my last theory for one person who left the old world behind. To this individual, thank you. It is not so easy to admit that you're wrong. It is hard to take on new things. It is hard to accept the new truths of this world, but you were strong enough to take the first plunge, and I hope that many more follow in your footsteps. Thank you very kindly for your depiction of my beautiful boys. Thank you for watching.
Oh, hey, everybody. It's me, Iggy from Wrecking Balls. Victory to the big kahuna. Get me to 3 gazillion subscribers for an epic Minecraft Dungeons marathon.